The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the complete. That is crazy
As I
stuff.
said, Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard.
In Middle America, near where Lewis and Clark began their famous expedition across the wilderness of Western America, the drivers in the American Pool Supply Truck Series are going to embark on their own expedition, a race to figure out a track with two totally different ends. Gateway Motorsports Park. Good evening, race fans. I'm Adam Young. Gateway Motorsports Park and the Premier Racing League welcome you to the St. Louis 125. 125 miles of hard-hitting iRacing trucks action. Expect a lot of action up front and out and back as these guys will be putting on a show here at this very unique racetrack. I'm Adam Young, and joining me up in the booth tonight, Lumberjack Sean Ambrose, and running the almighty colorful switchboard in the truck is going to be Joe Peak. He'll be using cameras provided by Doug Beard, who dutifully shows up to the track days beforehand to get you the best angles. Josh Krupa will be looking for his fourth win in a row tonight after running away from James Krahula last time at Kansas. He's going to have a harder time with that tonight as Gateway presents a uniquely challenging oval. Sean, thanks for joining me tonight. When you think of Gateway, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Phoenix, maybe Darlington come into the picture when I think about it. Maybe even a little bit of Martinsville. Possibly an egg. Yeah, maybe a big fat egg, possibly. You know, Gateway's asymmetrical oval has proven to be a demanding test of driver and machine, regardless of whether those machines are open wheel or stock cars or, yes, even trucks like tonight on this 1.25 mile circuit, 9 and 11 degrees in the bankings, folks. This one's a doozy. You're on the gas. You're full bore, you're on the brakes, you're probably even doing a little bit of shifting tonight. This one's not going to be easy. Let's take a look from the driver's seat of the Global Sim Racing Channel Silverado truck.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel. I'm Brian Yazek in the GSRC Chevrolet Silverado at Gateway Motorsports Park. A very, very unique 1.25 mile oval. So without further ado, let's show you how to get around this joint. Down the front stretch, you're going to be braking very, very hard here into turn 1 and let it find the bottom here. And you're going to really try to dive in the middle of it, but try to get the big run off, because that's going to be crucial to either setting up a pass, going into turn 3, or just trying to pull an advantage. Pretty much anything that you would need to do. Turn 3, big, wide, open, and inviting. Let the truck roll through the middle, the half back into the gas, and then finally about full throttle right there where the rumble strips stop, and then start again. Now Gateway does allow for a little bit of mobility in the corners here. 1 and 2, you might see guys run really high up here into the corner and try to get that straight run right off of the corner. Again, trying to set up a pass, trying to pull away, trying to do anything you can to pull an advantage. Back down into turn 3, same situation. We'll hit the brakes, let it roll. Don't dare touch the gas until about the halfway mark. Let it roll, back into the gas, full throttle off of the corner. Gateway can really be summed up in one way. It's kind of like a shrunken Darlington out there on the NASCAR circuit. So, with that being said, this was your guide to Gateway Motorsports Park. I'm Brian Yazek in the GSRC Chevrolet Silverado.
And that's a lap around this fast 1.25 mile oval. 100 laps tonight will bring us to that 125 mile mark for the St. Louis 125. With halfway at, I believe, lap 50, of course I believe, what's half of 100? Of course it's 50, right? Where drivers will get bonus points for being in the top 10. So, of course, the American Pool Supply halfway award will be something that we'll be watching out for here for today. With that said, Sean, let's review our point standings as of now.
Adam, I'm going to remind you that math plus GSRC, well, that usually equals a bad time. Okay,
it's okay. I only practically have like a minor in math.
I'll tell you what, though. The guys at the Premier Racing League, they've been nice enough to put this graphic together for us, though, so we didn't have to do any math. It's pretty easy to see here that Brian Yazek is in command right now. Tim Johnston in a really nice battle there with Ryan Howard and Rick Thompson. You go back to Brad Collins knocking on the door with Tyler Dalton. And we've got a log jam here, folks. all chasing Brian Yazik, and all it takes is a slip up from Mr. Yazik, and these guys are all on it. But those are your spring standings right there. Jake Wright down there with 61 points. Again, this is a really, really close battle. Nobody has run away with anything. All these positions are going to change tonight, likely. Let's look at the season standings here, and because the spring standings, the first segment. Okay, so these are the spring standings. The season standings are pretty close. I will tell you that. We don't have the season standings this evening. What I can tell you is that we are just about to the end of the first segment of the spring standings. So we're about to get into the summer segment. As you can see there before, Yazik is at the top of it. I got to be honest with you, Yazik could be a driver to watch this evening. This is the type of track that favors him. So we'll see here as qualifying has just got underway. Adam, Tyler Dalton's already put it on the top with his first lap. They get 2 flying laps, and it's time to bring it in. This is going to be a bit of a battle here over the next 7.5 minutes to see who can put their truck on top.
Yeah, we got a couple of fast guys that still haven't ran their times, and of course, with that, I know you've been out there. You've been kind of running some of the ghost laps that iRacing lets you do here, and trying to run some laps with these guys here tonight. Sean, who do you think's going to stand out? Who's going to be your woodshed pick tonight?
Okay, so I always love making that woodshed pick, but I also feel a responsibility to the league to not put that commentator's curse on anybody. So let's say I'm watching a few people from the woodshed this evening, okay? I'm going to keep an eye on Brian Yazik tonight because I like what he's doing here in practice. I love what he's doing in qualifying. And again, knowing Brian a little bit, I know this is the type of track that this is a driver's track, okay? Plain and simple. When I mentioned Darlington in the open here in the intro, Darlington, very much a driver's track. This is a very similar track to that. In the sense that it has 2 very, very different ends of the speedway. As I alluded to before, shifting going to be very important this evening. We don't generally talk about that much, but you're going to need third gear this evening because you're going to be carrying an awful lot of speed into these turns tonight. And as they're both different, they're also very hard to get through at speed. Grip is going to be a premium this evening. We've got pretty good conditions on track. Adam, it is partly cloudy in nighttime conditions here. 75 degrees on track, 75 degrees outside. That'll certainly help with the grip, but they're really going to need to get some rubber laid down on this track for that to be a real factor in this race.
Yeah, and they're going to have plenty of time to do that here tonight with about 100 laps that will be running here starting in about 6 minutes. Qualifying still has about 6 minutes left, but looking at the leaderboard so far, riding along with Brad Collins, just how close he gets to that wall coming out of 4, going to dive it down here into 1. One thing that you're going to hear very common tonight on these onboard cameras is going to be some shifting, and I know a lot of times on ovals we don't shift a whole lot once you get up to speed, of course, but you probably will quite a bit here. Now, we were talking a little bit, James Grahula stopped by, was talking to us a little bit before the show tonight, Sean, and he was talking about the turns 1 and 2 shifting, of course, being mandatory on the tighter radius corner. How many guys do you think are going to be shifting through 3 and 4?
I think I'm going to agree with James. It's optional. I don't know, man. I think it really is going to depend on grip. I think early here you're going to see just about everybody shifting through 3 and 4. I think as they start to get more rubber on the track, temperature comes up a little bit, then yeah, we'll probably see less of that happening and more momentum and grip occurring down through that end of the track. But I think qualifying has wrapped up as they started their drivers meeting. Adam, it's time for that pole award.
Yeah, we only have a few guys that didn't put down times. We'll watch out for them to make sure that they don't, but I do think we're pretty safe in awarding that NP3 Designs Pole Award to Brian Yazik. Brian Yazik able to put down a pretty quick time at about a 33.178 and being able to get his self on top of the leaderboard above Tyler Dalton here this evening.
Yeah, and you're going to see how long this straightaway is. I mean, you're up to top speed by the time you get to the end here. You've really got to get that car, the truck to set there down on the bottom of the track, which means you've got to get on the brakes, you've got to get off the throttle and get downshifted and then back into 4th gear as you power off. And again, there's Brian wrapping up that lap now. A 33.178 is no joke. Tyler Dalton threw in a 33.185.
I know one of the guys I'm going to be trying to keep an eye on tonight, of course, I think it goes without saying, is going to be Josh Skrupa, 33.307. He qualified fourth. Now, with Josh, he is going for his fourth win in a row here tonight. But he didn't necessarily show the speed that we're used to him seeing in warm-ups and here in qualifying as well. I mean, he did end up second on the leaderboard in practice, but I do think that was kind of an off lap looking at some of his times. How strong do you think Josh is going to be here tonight, Sean?
You mean Sandbag Skrupa? I mean, come on, really? No, I think Josh is going to be I think he's going to be a factor in every race this season. I think Josh has proven to everyone that, you know what, he's pretty good. Short of, getting into trouble, which can always happen. I mean, I think he'll be a contender in this thing. I think we've got potential here for a nice, long green flag race this evening. This track, I think so much focus is put on driving the track that guys are really going to be on point this evening. The practice that we saw leading up to this 2-hour practice, not a lot of funny business going on. Everybody was pretty serious about it, and I think there's several guys looking for a big win this evening and maybe some movement in the points.
Well, with that, I do believe I see the color guard from Scott Air Force Base coming onto the track. We'll watch for them and presentation of the national colors and your national anthem. And there was the national anthem. Now, of course, we were talking Brian Yazik sitting on the pole. I think we're pretty good, pretty safe to go ahead and run through the grid here, Sean. Brian Yazik sitting on the pole with a 33.178, only 7 thousandths of a second. Behind him is going to be Tyler Dalton. Go ahead and take row 2.
Row 2, Mr. Brian Mellendorf and Josh Skrupa will start fourth.
Yes, Josh Skrupa not only starting fourth, but trying to go for 4 in a row. James Grahula will be starting in 5th, and Jonathan Cattle in 6th in row 3.
Row 4, going to go to Tim Johnston in 7th tonight, and Rick Thompson will start 8th.
Jeff Gall start 9th, and Jake Wright in 10th.
Jakku in 10th tonight. Nice qualifying effort there. All right, row 6, going to be Jonathan Lawrence and Travis McQuistion.
Norman Peltier III starting in row 7, in the inside of row 7, and outside of row 7 is going to belong to Brad Collins. Norman mentioning that he ended up messing up both laps of his qualifying, so we'll see what else he's able to put down on the track and maybe be able to recover a little bit.
Don't think he quite said it that way, but we'll go with that. Row 8, Snoop Doggy Don Runkle Jr. there in 15th, Devin Cannon 16th.
Mark Norbert starting in 17th, and Paul Nicholas Cooper in 18th.
Row 10 belongs to Paul Pepper and our old friend, State Senator Fred Thompson. Not really, but I still like saying it.
John Wilco starting in 21st in the inside of row 11, and Stephen Herring will round out the field. And I do believe that these guys that didn't put down times in qualifying, they are all in session and are expected to take the grid here for today, which does look like they are starting to line up. Gateway will give us one pace lap here before we go behind that Mustang pace car, and then they'll set them loose and going into that really tight turn 1 and 2. What's going to be the key here to the early part of the race, Sean?
Ooh, I think the key for the first few laps is going to be getting the heat in the tires, okay? Trying to get the truck to settle and not find yourself sliding up and down this banking. And also making sure you're hitting your brake points. You don't want to be someone's, you don't want to be someone's brake pedal. Keeping a little bit of distance and, like I said, settling in, getting off to a good green flag start. I think that's going to be the focus of most of the guys out here. First and foremost, though, get a little heat in those tires. You're not going to be able to really do it here on the couple of warm-up laps behind the pace car. So be ready to go when that green flag drops.
Well, we'll see how well some of those guys are able to do that here coming up in just a moment. They're getting ready to roll off the grid, just waiting for a few more guys here to take part. But one big story here, Tim Johnston, who I believe is the empty car that you see on the grid, he ended up just dropping out of the server. So they are away and rolling. He's got a little bit here to try to get back in, but it does look like Tim Johnston, at the very least, will be starting from the pit road if he is able to reestablish his connection. Sometimes that happens. This is going to be the equivalent of maybe your truck just didn't fire on the grid. Sometimes that happens in sim racing, the equivalent of mechanical failure. So hopefully Tim's able to get back into the session here pretty quick. But Brian Yazek, of course, looking to try to get as much gap as he can on Tyler Dalton. But those trucks seem pretty evenly matched here tonight, Sean.
Yeah, they do. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got some pretty fast drivers in this field. The front is loaded. The top 10 of this field is loaded, and it's going to be up those guys to set the pace for everyone behind them. Again, I'm really hoping for a nice green flag run here to get things started. Maybe even get to that first green flag pit stop.
Well, and of course, those pit stops, that will come pretty quick. They will definitely have a pit stop over the course of their 125 miles for tonight. But Brian Yazek on the hammer. He is away and gets a pretty good jump on Tyler Dalton. Almost too good of a jump in a way. He is away. Tyler Dalton's already going to be having to fight off Mellendorf here. Dalton runs a little bit wide. Oh, Mellendorf sliding. He's able to get it back under control, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to lose. He is going to end up losing a position, maybe two, to the likes of Josh Skrupa and James Krahula.
All right, and Mellendorf doing a good job now recovering from that. Everybody else just kind of spreading out here, starting to go line astern as they come out of turn 4.
And I wonder if Mellendorf was one of the things that you brought up there, Sean, as far as not enough heat in the tires early. That's kind of what that looked like. As soon as he got on the gas to come out of turn 2, he was almost dead sideways to the rest of the field. But he gathers it up, is currently in 5th. But right now, your top 5 after a lap and a half is going to be Yazek, Dalton, Skrupa, Cadell, and Mellendorf out there as things, as you mentioned, pretty much going nose to tail here as they're going to try to click off some laps and get some heat in those tires here early.
Travis McQuistion back here making a move for 10th place on the inside of Jake Wright. Coming across the start-finish line. Ooh, give it to Jake Wright there across the line, but McQuistion going to keep fighting down low.
Yeah, Jonathan Lawrence there looked like he was thinking about trying to go 3 wide. Good thing he backed out of it. That's not a good idea in many parts of this track, but we've seen it before. This track, one thing it's famous for in the real world that we've seen a couple of times, Sean, coming out of turn 4, it just kind of lends itself to some really great battles to the line. And, who knows? Maybe we could set up for something like that here tonight.
Adam, I think you're going to get your chance, buddy. I think tonight is a good time. This is a good track for it. Still a lot of good battling going on here early.
Up front right now, Josh Skrupa going ahead and trying to take second place away from Tyler Dalton. we knew that Josh Grupa would probably end up being stronger than what he's shown at times during practice and, of course, qualifying. And so now his next target is going to be your leader, Brian Yasek. But Brian has already worked himself out to a half-second lead. Actually, that lead was extended there with that pass to about 0.7 of a second. So now Josh Grupa is going to have to try to whittle away a little bit at that. So your front three are pretty well nose to tail once again, with Brian Yasek trying to do a little bit of running away, but back behind there from about 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, they're going at it right now.
They are, and it was Jonathan Cadell who just pulled off the pass on James Grahula. James is fighting to get that back, and there's Mellendorf right behind him. Rick Thompson starting to catch up to those three. But yeah, Cadell pulled a great move to get around Grahula, and he's holding serve right now, sitting there in 4th place. Grahula getting the run through the center, but not quite as good a run off there. You see Cadell pull away the yellows out.
Yeah, I'll go back here and see John Wilco lagging behind the field. We'll see if anything sees him all doesn't look like him.
Jonathan Lawrence. Yeah. Self-spin from Lawrence just in the middle of the turn.
Watching here on the replay. It just really snapped loose and backed into the wall. Hopefully he's able to get to pit road here and get some of that fixed and not lose a lot of time. But with the fact that it ended up being in the middle of the track, brought out the yellow. One guy that really wanted to see this yellow, though, for you Tim Johnston fans, he was able to get into the field, but he did end up 4 laps down. So he will be your Coastal Safety Auditor's lucky dog here as our first lucky dog of the night, but that will get him at least 1 lap back here.
Well, give him a little something to fight with. There's our buddy Brutus, Coastal Safety Auditor dog there. That's a good puppy dog.
Yeah, little known fact, I think Brutus is faster than me at Gateway. I think he was able to put down lap times about a half-second faster than me.
Well, it looks like most of the field has decided to come on down. Looks like who's staying out there? Mellendorf. I see Josh Grupa. Tim Johnston going to keep it out on track. Obviously, he just got in. He's taking that lucky dog now, driving around. But everybody else coming in decided to take on a little bit of fuel, or all be going for tires. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and take those tires. Why not?
Yeah, so here, this is going to be an early experiment. We saw this a couple of times this season so far. Dalton might have taken 2 there, which it might be lending to my experiment theory here that I think Skrupa and Mellendorf right now just want to see how their trucks do compared to everybody else in 8-lap tires, because it comes down to the end of the race, and, what are you going to want? Fresh rubber? You're going to be able to hold your own out there after only a couple of laps. But one thing that Skrupa and Mellendorf will have is they'll still have at least a little bit of heat left in the tires, where everybody else will still be on cold tires. So they might be able to get away there. Now, our director Joe Peak, he's got one of those big little sound things that sometimes you see on the sideline at NFL games and stuff, and he was able to listen in on Jonathan Lawrence's spin there, and he thinks that maybe he shifted into neutral. Might have been the cause of the spin there. So that's sometimes something that can happen when you're on a transmission like this, and you end up at a track where you're shifting. Like I mentioned, oval racers, we're not used to shifting too much at speed, but you're going to have to here for tonight for sure.
Well, and you know what, that very, very well could have been the case there, and if that was, and you know what, things happen, but he's going to get a chance to fight another day here as we continue to pace around this track. Man, I'll tell you what, this track looks great at night. I really hope at some point iRacing can implement those little courses, those little go-kart tracks they have in the infield of Gateway here. Who knows? Maybe some go-karts at some point on the iRacing service.
Well, I'd be just as happy with the much rumored, not really, but drag racing part of the service and getting the drag strip that's out here.
Yeah, there it sits. There it sits right there outside of where the trucks are passing through turn 3 right now.
And that leads to an interesting point, going back to some real world racing. I'm really glad that Gateway under new management and stuff like that is starting to re-attract Real World Racing Series. Of course, the Indy Racing League, IndyCar, getting ready to. We just had this discussion, Sean, didn't we, about calling series old names and stuff?
Yeah.
So the Indy Racing League, I'm really glad that they're gonna have a race back here on the calendar later this year. So finally, seeing the return of some open wheel action here at Gateway.
Hey, anytime you want to sit around and wax poetic about defunct racing leagues, I'm all down for it. All right.
Well, not really defunct, but name change. I mean, we spent, for those who don't know, we spent a good chunk before the race calling the trucks still the Craftsman Truck Series, just to give you a little heads up on that. But the lights are off on the pace car. We're going to be going back green here this time by Josh Skrupa in the lead. It looks like Brian Mellendorf is going to be starting outside of him. The big question that, like I said, experiment time this early in the race. Will 8-lap-old tires, well, now 10-lap-old, of course, 2 of those under caution here, will those hold their own against some of the guys behind them, including the likes of Dalton and Yazik, Caudell, Krahula, that just took, in Dalton's case, we believe 2, in everybody else's case, we believe 4 tires. So it'll be interesting to see where Skrupa, Mellendorf, and then also in that case, Dalton end up fanning out here real quick. But they are rounding their way between turns 3 and 4. Now you see the 5-hour energy up there on the safer barrier. Pace car ducks off, and away they go. Skrupa on the pedal. He's trying to get away early, but Dalton right behind him. Mellendorf does not get the greatest of starts. Skrupa is going to be able to get the preferred line, to be able to swing out wide before the entry of 1. You hear them getting on the binders already, and you hear them already starting to shift, as it looks like Dalton has a little bit more than Skrupa, at least here through 1 and 2. We'll have to watch 3 and 4. Sure.
The top 7 have broken away. It goes back double file behind them, Adam. It's we've got on the 76, Rick Thompson on the inside. Travis McQuistion going side by side with him. Then you go back to Jake Wright, Paul Cooper. Great battle here. All of them trying to settle in position, and they're breaking away up front. And I see them going side by side up there also.
Yeah, it's pretty much the only one that isn't side by side right now is your leader, Josh Skrupa. And back behind him, it looked like Mellendorf and Caudell couldn't really close, about as close as you can be without actually having contact, as it looks like, I believe that is Caudell there on the inside line. He's going to end up being able to steal that position away from Mellendorf, as Mellendorf does drop back to 5th, and he's going to have to fight off James Krahula back there as well. But so far, not coming in is working out for Josh Skrupa, but he does have somebody with 4 fresh Goodyears on him, behind him with Brian Yazik, the first car with 4 tires. Tyler Dalton took 2, but he is having to fight off Jonathan Caudell, who also took 4 tires. Of course, as mentioned, Tyler Dalton took 2.
Yeah, and those two are having a really spirited battle. Tyler Dalton really making that top groove work. He was. Now Caudell able to get position. Dalton looks to maybe cross him over, doesn't do it. Settles in the line. Mellendorf behind. And then James Krahula, those 4 tracking each other now. And it is our leader, Skrupa, Brian Yazik up ahead. Good battle in there. Settling in for a run here. I can smell it.
I want to look at somebody here real quick before this battle for the lead heats up. Go back to Jonathan Lawrence at 17th. After bringing out that caution, starting 21st on the field, and only the couple of laps since we saw the green flag fly again, he's already gained 4 positions, and he is getting hungry for a few more. They are looking at the likes of Brad Collins and Don Runkle Jr. He's really trying to charge through the field and trying to make up some ground here. But as I mentioned him, of course, that battle for the lead there between Skrupa and Brian Yazik just a second ago, just as I was getting ready to try to go to it here, Yazik was sneaking his nose on the inside, but he ended up thinking better of it. But I do think that Yazik probably has the faster truck, at least at this point. So just to think what's going to be a matter of is, can he get a good run on either end of this track? I think we're still a little bit too early to say one guy is better at one end of the track than the other. But right now, I do see Josh Skrupa kind of taking a little bit of a higher line through 1 or 2 than what Yazik's trying to do by about a half car length. But that half car length probably helped save some tires here later.
Jake Wright just taking a position from Rick Thompson. That puts him up to 8th. Now he's looking to catch up to Travis McQuistion. Tell you what, they're stacking up just behind Jake there. He's got Rick Thompson right behind him. Jeff Gow with a little bit of trouble in the turn there.
Here we go, Yazik. Yeah, Yazik up front here. He ended up having a good run coming off 4. He is alongside your leader, Josh Krupa. He's going for the lead himself, coming out of 2, going down the back straightaway. It's a drag race trying to go down into 3. Josh Krupa has a little bit more momentum, inching up on Yazik, but it looks like Yazik will be able to take sole possession of first here as they round their way through 3 and 4. Josh Krupa is going to slip in behind your new leader, Brian Yazik.
Good job there by Yazik, taking that spot back, finally gets himself back up in the lead. Maybe those tires starting to be a little bit factor for Josh Krupa.
You know, and that's one thing, too, that sometimes we talk about. You know, I know this isn't going to be a huge aerodynamic track, but now that air is not on the front end of Josh Krupa's car going across that front air dam, it might actually hurt his tires a little bit. He's going to have to put a little bit more steering input to get through the corners without a little bit more front downforce. So you could see the situation between the no tires and the 4 tires exacerbated here over the course of the next couple of laps.
The push is real, and I'm sure once you lose that downforce, it starts pushing like a dump truck on you. Speaking of that, it's James Grahula caught in the tow there of Brian Mellendorf, and every time he gets to him in the turn, the truck seems to slow down because, again, downforce, such a big issue. And you see Mellendorf there able to keep it just nice and low. James not able to get the run on him he needs to be able to execute a pass. And Tyler Dalton sitting there up in front of Mellendorf. Remember, he only took 2 tires. And you know what? That's still working for him. He's only lost 2 spots since the restart. I think that gamble right now, it seems to have been okay.
Yeah, you know, it really didn't hurt him. Skrupa really with the 4 tires. We know he's in second, but he really hasn't lost too much ground just yet to Brian Yazik. Mellendorf, he didn't exactly end up have the best of restarts there. Maybe he could be up a position or 2 higher than what he is. But, you know, looking at his lap times and stuff, I don't think it's really hurting him too awful much just yet as well. As right now on your screen, you're looking at a good battle here between Paul Pepper and Devin Cannon. As it looks like Paul Cooper is going to be on the inside of Devin Cannon here, going through 1 and 2. Of course, Paul Cooper with the rainbows going around the rear wheel well. That's be an easy way to identify his vehicle. So he's going to be hoping to be, trying to make that pass very similar to what we saw with Yazik and Skrupa just a minute ago, with Yazik being able to get a run. But as I say that, he kind of loses a little bit of ground. That car behind him, that's Don Runkle Jr. back there behind Cooper. And so not only is Paul Cooper trying to get a position on Devin Cannon, he's trying to also hold off Don Runkle Jr., who we also know has a strong pickup.
Yeah, and Paul Cooper wanted to make sure his friends, family, and all of his fans knew exactly who he was, so he went and slapped himself on the front of the truck there. Oh, when he gets, we saw there riding on board there with Cannon, he got a piece of the wall. Now Cooper is way off base, loses those 2 spots. Oh, geez, we shouldn't have been talking about him. That's my bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
We put the curse on him.
Yeah, he didn't necessarily hit the wall too hard, but I think it killed his momentum more than anything else. And once he realized it was probably better just to let those 2 guys go, get his composure back, and then try to re-attack here in just a minute. But I don't see too awful lot of damage on his pickup, so he should be able to continue on fairly well here.
Yeah, he should. Now he's going to have to try and get around Norm Pelletier, and not too far in his mirror is Brad Collins, who, not off to a great start. Brad's down a couple of spots. In fact, I think he himself got a piece of the wall here about 5 laps ago coming out of turn 4. And turn 4 it's claiming its victims every now and again, Adam. I've seen a couple of trucks already flirt with that concrete up there, and I don't think that's going to be good for the long-term health of your truck.
No, it's not. And as we start to approach lap 25 here, I think everybody's pretty much running nose to tail. We got a good quiet stretch here. Let's go and work our way through the field. We only got 22 cars in this field, so it should be fairly easy here to work through everybody real quick. Starting up front, looking at Brian Yazik. Brian Yazik, of course, led the race here early on. He was able to reclaim that lead a little while ago from Josh Skrupa, and Josh Skrupa being able to hold his own back there. Josh Skrupa stayed out on old tires through the first caution on 8-lap old tires, so he is able to, pretty much still keep pace with Yazik as those tires are kind of evened out here over the last couple laps. So I do believe you're looking at your two guys that are going to be putting on the show here for tonight. Now going back, Jonathan Cadell, Jonathan was also one of the guys that went ahead, came down pit road, put on 4 tires. He is up 3 positions where he started. He started 6th on the field on the outside of row 3. So great run in that Steel Horse racing machine here today. Tyler Dalton is back behind him. Tyler took 2 tires in that pit stop scenario there under the first caution. And he is down 2 positions from where he started here today. But still, a little bit of experiment. Now he kind of knows what will happen if he ends up being in position to take 2 tires later on in this race. Now, I got a little ahead of myself by saying Brian Mellendorf, but here is Brian Mellendorf in 5th position. He is also down 2 positions where he started. He is one of the trucks that stayed out on the first yellow, so he is running on 27-lap old tires, but right now holding position in 5th place. Going back to James Grahula, who is running in 6th position. He is 3.7 seconds on the last lap back behind the leader, and only down 1 spot for that Frosty Pop racing machine. So James Gula having a good, consistent day out there. We, James is having a good day when we haven't talked a whole lot about him, and so he's back there right now, just being calm, quiet. We'll see where he pans out in that Coastal Safety Auditors sponsored race truck here later on in the race. Travis McQuestion running right now in 7th position. He's 5 laps up from where he started, so pretty good run so far here for Travis McQuestion. And then we'll find Jake Wright back behind him, running in 8th position. The number 27 truck having another one of those good days, a good quiet day out there early on in the running here. Now, of course, I always like to pick out what my favorite paint scheme in the race is, and that today is going to go to Rick Thompson. Oh, biggest news up front. Josh Krupa just spun. He is in the wall. We'll have to get back to Rick Thompson here in a minute. Yellow is out. He put it into the wall hard.
Boy, Cadell just got by him. I hope we get a shot on board with Jonathan Cadell. Let's look what happened to Krupa first, though. It looks like it got a little tight on him in the center of the turn, Adam.
Yeah, one of those ones where it gets so tight it goes loose on you, and the ultimate price to be paid there by his rear deck lid. Jonathan Cadell just missing him. We're going to go on board Jonathan Cadell here.
It just leaves me a bit speechless. I mean, he just missed him. I don't think he had gotten a sheet of paper in there when he goes by. We're on board with Cadell now. He's going to break loose in front of him. Cadell's going to go down to the low side, and he's just going to get by.
Man, it doesn't get much closer than that in this iRacing service. So, lucky break by Jonathan Cadell, who ends up actually taking 2nd place. Not so lucky break by Josh Skrupa, who I think it's safe to say, unless a miracle of some sort happens, he's probably not going to come away with his 4th win in a row now tonight. And Tim Johnston, by the way, did end up falling out again with connection issues. We're waiting to see if he reconnects, but he is back 4 laps down to the leader here. So there is no Coastal Safety Auditors lucky dog on this one. Here come the guys down pit road.
And you know what? I'm not going to give up on Skrupa yet. I'm looking at the truck. The damage it's not that bad. I mean, I think he can overcome that. The rear spoiler is a little jacked up, but I don't know, man. A little bit of strategy, picking up some positions. Skrupa has pulled off some pretty amazing things so far this season. I'm sure he's pretty determined to get this 4th in a row. We'll see if it's in the cards for him, but I don't know. I'm not going to give up on it yet.
Well, we'll have to see, but he's definitely the odds are not in his favor at the moment. Brian Yazik wins the race off pit road. It looks like falling in behind him is going to be Jonathan Cadell and then Tyler Dalton. So that's going to be your top 3 coming up. I've got to finish my thought here real quick. We go over to Rick Thompson just because we were on him when we were going through the field. But my favorite paint scheme here for today has got to be Rick Thompson. He's sporting the U.S. Air Force truck in the Thunderbird scheme. I love it because, well, I've been known to run a very similar scheme in some Pac Majors races at least a few years ago before we got my whole team together with that. But that is my favorite paint scheme out there on the track here for today. So just had to finish my thought because I'm that kind of person. But hey, while we have a quick moment here, while we step away for a quick break, and we'll let Sean catch his breath or something, and we'll be right back. And we're coming back just as we go back green. Brian Yazik on the hammer as they come out of 4. That Mustang pace car peeled off in a hurry. It's ended up being a quick yellow as there was no coastal safety auditor's lucky dog this time around. And right now, Brian Yazik being able to take control of the lead as they go through 1 and 2, but it is pretty much a mess behind him with everybody single file. Jonathan Goodell trying to rise above, but he's going to have to fight off Tyler Dalton on the inside of him. And Brian Mellendorf, once again, coming back in, making his presence known, trying to get back into that top 3 solidly. But going through 3 and 4, they start to try to go nose to tail a little bit better here. And then, of course, Brian Yazik, though, doing his best, as I mentioned, to try to run away with this one. After your first lap back to green, he is about 0.2 of a second up on Jonathan Goodell, but does not have a very good entry going into 1 and 2. Actually, Jonathan Goodell gets right up under his rear deck lid and actually has to back off just a little bit to keep from running into the tailgate there of Brian Yazik's pickup. Now, Sean, that's... that kind of made me nervous a little bit there, but sometimes it happens on that tight entry into 1.
It really does, yeah. And you know what? It's probably not going to be the first or last time we see that this evening. A lot developing here on track, though, behind the 93 of Norman Pelletier.
Oh, yellow's out again. And Paul Cooper is not happy about something.
Oh, and it unfortunately might have started with might have started with Mark Nobert. I'm not positive.
Ooh. And looking at Josh Krupa's race is definitely done now. He ended up on his lid and all that.
Yeah, the 83 truck of Mark Nobert coming out of turn 4. I think he might have collected the wall. Or thought he was going to, and then it made a move back to the left, and when he did, that's where everything unfolded. You're seeing here on the replay as he comes back across the track, collects Skrupa, gets him up on his lid, and then the 46, Fred Thompson, goes sliding there to the inside.
Yeah, well, we're right on board here with Mark Nobert, but if you want a hair-raising moment in a second after this, we're right on board with Josh Skrupa. Here you go. You see Norbert kind of react to that wall and end up coming down and finding the side of Josh Skrupa's truck. So Josh Skrupa's day pretty much going from bad to worse at this point, unfortunately. His truck is still under power, but it does have some significant body damage now.
Yeah,
we'll go with Josh Skrupa's on board here, and let's ride along with them, because it's like 1 second everything looks all fine and hunky-dory out in front of him, and then the next second it's really not.
Yeah, there's Skrupa coming off the turn. Obviously, he's not aware that's happening. He's running his line, and boy, what a surprise that had to have been. And as you said, unfortunately, that's going to be really, really tough for Josh to overcome that much damage.
That's something that you find a lot at tracks like Daytona and Talladega, where you're just going along fine, you're in a straight line. The next thing you know, you're upside down, rumbling, tumbling, fumbling like John Madden trying to call a football game, and that's not something you'd really expect to see in a track like Gateway, but here we are. Now, most of the field ended up coming back down pit road again, but Yazik, Dalton, and Pepper do not. So Pepper maybe trying to gain some positions here on pit strategy.
Yeah, those guys decide to keep it out there. Maybe learned a little bit from that first caution and said, you know what, maybe we'll gamble on these tires. It's got about 5 racing laps on them, so not a bad deal. I will give an update on Skrupa real quick. He is still in the pit, taking tires, taking fuel, but he's sitting there getting repaired.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate after that one caution jar just a few laps ago, and his day kind of goes from bad to worse. He is going to pull away, so we're going to have to watch him closely, because anytime Josh Skrupa is on the track, he's got a truck that at least run a straight line. Of course, he'll he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, at least somewhere on this racetrack, so it'll be worth watching for him. Lights are out on the pace car, but one thing I'm noticing here, Sean, is we got a couple of other guys that look like they try to get their way up here on pit strategy. If I had to guess, I think Cadell, Mellendorf, Thompson, Gow, and Runkle Jr., I think all those guys might have taken 2 tires here in this last pit stop.
Yeah, we've got some drivers playing around with the 2-tire strategy also, so everybody in the top 8 He's either on 2 tires or tires that got about 5 racing laps on them. So, yeah, this should be interesting on the restart. We'll see how much jockeying for position we get here quick.
All right, so we're going into 3 here. We'll come around 4. Yazik, so far on the restarts today, has been able to really punch it and be able to get some good restarts. Tyler Dalton, not so much. We'll have to see if Tyler's able to kind of change his luck around a little bit. He's inching up on him, but Yazik gets the jump on Tyler Dalton. He's able to get away. He's got Paul Pepper in tow. Paul Pepper's going to try to make his presence known here, maybe try to take second going into 1 and 2. He's got the inside line on Tyler Dalton, but it looks like Tyler's going to be able to get that little bit of a run there on the outside there. Paul Pepper's going to drop back a little bit. He's going to have to fight off Jonathan Cadell here as well. Truck's getting awfully close back there.
And it's a little bit of what I thought. We've got a bunch of drivers on, 4 fresh Goodyears, and they're scrambling, trying to pick apart the field in front of them. James Krahula, one of those trucks, slicing and dicing back there, trying to pick up positions in 8th place. He slides up in front of Don Runkle. And Don going to try and cross him over back to the inside, heading down into 1.
Yeah, those guys fighting tooth and nail for every spot. I'm seeing a couple of guys kind of get loose. I think Meldorf got in the back of Cadell just a little bit that last time by. Kind of upset Cadell's truck just a touch, but everybody's able to keep straight and keep going. But some guys, just trying to filter through, who has strong trucks and who just got up there on pit strategy. But also, keep in mind, we are 10 laps away from the halfway award. And of course, the halfway award in this series does award quite a bit of points to the top 10. So if you're in tight points battles, you want to be trying to get every position that you can right about this point of the race.
Boy, and I'll tell you what, one of the big movers on those fresh tires has been Jonathan Cadell. He had he was on 2 tires. My bad. I thought Cadell was moving up on the 4 tires. But right now it's Yazik that's hanging on to it all at the top. And as we close down on that halfway point that you talked about and how important it is, Yazik is the man. Tyler Dalton chasing.
Well, and I did go back and take a look. Unfortunately, Josh Skrupa, his truck is just not up to speed right now. He's already falling off. He's about almost 10 seconds behind the leaders now. So, unfortunately, it does look like that damage is going to play a significant factor in the rest of his race. So, not good news for Josh Skrupa. He's just going to try to get every position, every point he can. Sean?
Look at this mess. 8th and on back. McQuistion making a move on Paul Pepper. James Krahula stuck on the outside. It's a gaggle of trucks here, all battling side by side. James door banging there with Pepper. Oh, I gotta be so careful.
That's a good place where sometimes somebody can get a little bit of contact. Next thing you know, you find yourself in that turn 2 wall. So James Krahula and Paul Pepper are able to get away with that one, but they're going through that tight 3 and 4, and turn 4 is a place where we see a lot of action as well on this racetrack. So these guys running side by side like that's going to make just about anybody nervous, but they get it straightened out. They're going to go nose to tail here going into 1 and 2, as nobody has a really good run except who's that now going to the inside of Paul Pepper? That would be your 27 truck of Jake Wright. Jake down there trying to take a look at the inside, but he loses momentum and almost gets a little bit loose there, and he might end up losing a position or 2 here going down the backstretch.
I think you're right, and again, kind of like we saw in that last or the Skrupa caution, that truck looked like it got a little bit tight down there low and then brought the rear end around, but not all the way around. He was able to save it. Great battle, though, still going on up in front of them between Krahula and McQuistion. These two still locked up, door handle to door handle.
And James Krahula doing his best right now to be another one of those guys just trying to fight and try to work through some of this traffic here as he's getting around that 93 truck of Travis McQuistion now, and is going to put himself out in front of this pack that we've got. But in the process of all that, he's gotten away from the next group, which is back behind there is Jeff Gow. So he's got a little distance to make up and get back up in that lead pack.
A little bit of distance to make up, indeed. Again, I'm just still so impressed with this battle here. And Pepper really doing a good job of keeping the truck down on the bottom of the track, not letting him wash up, making it easier for Pelletier and Jake to run with him. So again, Pepper, the one that really should be given the credit here for racing hard, but also racing well. If you're going to run that bottom line, you better be able to keep it down there if you're going to battle with someone sitting right upside of you there. And right now, Paul is the winner in that little battle, as he's now broken away just a bit. Can start to focus a little bit on McQuistion, but here comes Norm Pelletier right up on the bumper of him now. I spoke too soon. Man, the ebb and flow of the momentum of this track, Adam, is something to watch indeed.
Yeah, it really is, and one thing you don't want to do is get stuck fighting like that all back there, because, every single lap these guys are losing more and more ground. This is definitely one of those racetracks. While there's multiple lines that you can take through some of these corners and everything else, but there's really only one true fast line that you can only run if you're running by yourself. So if you're running side by side, you stand to lose quite a bit of time. You can see that with that pack there from about 7th on back, already about nearly 4.5 seconds off your leader, Brian Yazek. Yazek, on the other hand, up front right now, just give you a little bit of up front no news. He's about 0.4 of a second up on Tyler Dalton. That second back there, well, I say second back, the lead pack right behind Yazek, as you see Jonathan Cadell trying to just stick his nose in there, letting Tyler know he's still there. But they had an interesting moment trying to get around Mark Nobert, the lap truck there, involved in that last caution. They kind of caught him in a bad place on the exit of the corner, even though Mark was working with the field. Don't get me wrong on there. Mark was being very great communicating with everybody. It's just kind of one of those times that they caught him in a bad place and lost quite a bit of time. Now that gap up to about almost 0.7 of a second to your leader Yazek. But that second, third, and fourth trucks there, they're getting ready to have a pretty tight battle, three-way battle here going on in just a moment.
Yeah, and something to note here as we approach the halfway point of this race. Cadell still trying to get one spot better here. He's got one last chance to get that done here.
We got somebody going around in the back.
Oh boy, and it was across the start-finish line where I think it started.
I don't think Rick touched anything. It's Rick Thompson. I do not think he touched anything. At least after he spun here. We'll have to see if he ended up getting the wall to cause a spin. And as soon as we do this, we'll talk about your halfway mark here. He just, the back end came around on him and he exited 3. That probably worked out as best for him as it could have in that situation. A couple of close calls there, but everybody misses him, and he loses the spots, but he does have an intact race truck and can try to make up some of that ground. With that, we'll talk about your excuse me, I'm sorry, having a little bit of difficulty here. Your computer American Pool Supply. Like I said, having some computer difficulties. Your American Pool Supply Halfway Award. Brian Yazek leading the field at halfway as you see them all coming down on the pit road. The American Pool Supply Halfway Award is special because the top 10 all get bonus points, and as you saw from that point rundown a little while ago, we do have some tight points battles going on here today. So Yazek's coming down pit road. Who is going to come out first here? Is anybody else going to try any nifty kind of pit strategy?
We'll see, but Yazek will be that winner of the Halfway Award brought to you by American Pool Supply. Congratulations to him. And the top 10 on their bonus points. And Adam, we've seen a great race, but we're going to get restarted with about 46 laps to go. And we are going to see an all-out battle because I think everybody's going to roll with the same thought here in their pit stops. And I'm seeing 4 tires and fuel all the way down the board.
Yep, and I do believe also it's worth mentioning that even though he's a couple of laps down, I believe that your Coastal Safety Auditor's Lucky Dog is going to go to Mark Norbert, who is currently 5 laps down to the leader, but he was able to gain back one of those laps after that accident earlier on. So Brutus, trying to, I guess, ghost drive with him right now. Maybe that's what he's doing. I just noticed Brutus has a G27, like I do. So maybe I don't know why he's a half second second faster than me on this racetrack, but that might be part of the reason. So, but also, one of the stories that I've been following tonight is whether or not Josh Skrupa was going to be able to win 4 in a row. It is not going to happen tonight. Josh Skrupa has disconnected and is done for the evening. So that's unfortunate for him. But after pit stops, it looks like Yazik, Dalton, Cadell, Krahula, and Mellendorf are going to be your top 5 as we get ready to come back to green here in just a little bit. Now the lights are still on the pace, the Mustang pace car, so we'll go around at least one more time here in just a moment. But so Sean, we're now past the halfway mark. What's some thoughts here through the first half of the race? What are some things that you've seen? What are going to be some things to watch out for here in the second half?
Well, I think in the second half, what we're going to need to watch out for is, I think we're going to need to watch out for the fuel strategy. Now, it hasn't been a problem yet because the cautions have fallen conveniently. I'll be honest with you, if this were to stay green, I think these trucks can make it on 46 laps here. I think that's the window. So this should be pretty interesting. Will we see somebody gamble for the sake of position and try and keep that truck out there? That's certainly one thing I'm going to be watching. In fact, I'm going to keep a really close eye on it. We'll see who's got what left in him here, but I think the experimenting with the tires here early has led me to believe that someone may take a stab at this without actually doing anything as far as the pits are concerned before this race is over.
And of course now the big thing will be, will we go caution free the rest of the way? If the pit window is like what you're thinking, it's about 46 laps, we're going to be taking the green flag here with 46 laps to go. So at that point, or if you end up somebody like Dalton or Krahula, Mellendorf, if you end up behind Yazik, or even Yazik for that matter, if he ends up falling back to second for whatever reason here, do you try to stay back there, maybe try to save a little gas in the draft? Do you maybe not shift through some of these corners, try to save a little bit of gas to make it for sure?
Yes, I think not shifting, cruising a little bit may help you, but hey, the safest place to be is up front. If you're up front, keep digging to stay up front. Let the race come to you. Here we go.
Yeah, and of course up front is Yazik. Yazik's going to have another good restart. That man has just been on a tear on these restarts for tonight. He's going to get a great jump, and he's going to be pulling Cadell right behind him. Oh, we got another car up on 2 wheels back there. Yellow is back out immediately. I do not see who's all involved in that just yet, but okay, so you got Travis Question back there.
Question, yeah. It started with him, I think. Boy, that's really, really bad on the restart there.
Don Runkle's making a little note of it here. He typed up in race chat for us that he doesn't know how he missed it. We need to take a look at his in-car, and that's coming from the driver himself. So we'll get over to Don Runkle's in-car here in just a second.
Yeah, and I think what we saw there, Adam, was it looked like McQuistion's truck started to drift up just a little bit, and I think he might have pinched Jake there just a bit. Here's a ride on board with Runkle, Adam.
Yeah, so we'll see what he saw here and why he's so excited about it. But I think you're going to get a pretty good bird's eye view of Travis McQuestion up on 2 wheels as he ended up making contact there, coming back to track. Oh, great job being on the binders. Oh, another little bit of heart attack moment. That Steel Horse Racing Machine narrowly avoided contact twice in that accident. So thanks, Don Runkle, for queuing up there in race chat and letting us know to take a look at that. So we're going to also ride along here with Jonathan Lawrence. Jonathan Lawrence, of course, was unfortunately responsible for bringing out the first caution of the night. We'll see what his luck is here in this latest caution. Riding down here with the front straightaway, you'll see probably a smoke screen getting ready to happen in front of him. You see McQuestion there getting up on 2 wheels, comes down, gets on the binders nice and easy, and he's able to get away from that accident without any additional damage there. Now, unfortunately for Mark Norbert, he did get caught up in that accident. He would have been your Coastal Safety Auditor's lucky dog, but alas, this time there will not be a lucky dog awarded on this caution here. So So we go back up front. Brian Yazik still leading this field. With a couple of cars a lap down, we do have an opportunity here to take a quick break, and we'll come back here in just a moment. We'll run through who is where and see, maybe hopefully things through to the end of the race. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Gateway Motorsports Park and the Premier Racing League American Pool Supply Truck Series for the St. Louis 125. We're looking at about 42 laps to go here. I believe the question before that last restart, Sean, was whether or not the guys would be able to make it on fuel. If the pit window is what we're thinking it is, I think now everybody can pretty much make it. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. And you know what? Don't go gambling with me, folks. I won't ever suggest that to you because, well, me gambling on a long green flag run didn't quite work out, did it, Adam?
No, not quite. But, you know, one person this might all work out for is the likes of Brian Yazik. Brian Yazik has just been on a tear as far as restarts here for tonight. He's going to get another opportunity as the Mustang pulls off, and he is away once again. Fantastic jump. He's got Jonathan Cadell alongside of him and Tyler Dalton behind him, but he is able to get away this time from both of them and just go into turn one completely unabated. He has nobody around him, and he is away. Of course, Jonathan Cadell doing his best to try to hang with him here at this point. Of course, now shaking things out, Mellendorf ends up shuffling out into third, and Tyler Dalton's ended up falling back to fourth position. Tyler Dalton has not had the best of luck on restarts for tonight. We'll see if he can make it back up under some green flag racing here and now. But the field, of course, after that last accident, collecting quite a few trucks, it kind of thinned out a little bit toward the middle part of the field. And so things a little bit calmer. Cadell's halfway around. Is he able to see? He's able to save it, and everybody misses.
Oh, no.
No, they're back around. They're back around.
Yeah, and you know what happened? Poor Paul Cooper. He tried to avoid that, and it started to come around. He could not save it. Darn it. I hate that for Paul. He was having a good run, and it just, man, he sees the trouble down there. You're going to watch Cadell. We're on board here looking at Cadell in the number 11.
And Don Runkle is telling us that we need to watch his camera again out of this one. And you see Cadell get loose. Go ahead, John.
He does such a great job does such a great job of saving it, and Krahula just barely gets around. And you see top of your screen there, the rainbow machine. He just avoids it, and it brings, I guess, when he was either on a little bit of brake or trying to lift, the rear end comes around him, and that just, oh, that was terrible.
Well, he ends up being the not lucky dog here person, but we'll ride along with Don Runkle before we talk about who actually got the lucky dog in this caution here real quick.
So many
See what he
trucks involved
sees.
in that. Yeah, let's ride on board with Snoop Doggy Don here.
See Cadell. Whoa! Stays out of the Paul Cooper truck as he was getting loose, and he's able to get away with it once again. So Don Runkle finding himself in front of a lot of action, but I think Paul Cooper ended up being the one that kind of ends up having the worst luck here today.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and bring out Brutus once again. Brutus having a fun time racing here tonight as we award the Coastal Safety Auditor's Lucky Dog to Rick Thompson. Rick Thompson, here's the story with Rick. He was just coming out of the pits after repairing some damage. He was about a half a straightaway ahead of Brian Yazik. Coming out of the pits when that yellow came out. He's the only truck a lap down. He's basically going to be able to go around almost 1.5 times here to get back on the lead lap and to be able to get some contention. Of course, Rick Thompson unfortunately got caught up in that accident before on the front straightaway with Travis McQuistion, so he's able to make up some ground after that. So Coastal Safety Auditor's Lucky Dog, once again, Rick Thompson here on this yellow. So after that last round of pit stops, let's go back up to the front of the field because I believe we've got a little bit of a shakeup compared to what we had just a moment ago. You're going to find Tyler Dalton at the front of this race, Krahula in second, Mellendorf in third, Gow in fourth, and Yazik back to fifth as we're going to go back to green here in just a little bit.
Tell you what, I'm not surprised to see James Krahula sitting up here and foregoing the pit stop. That is not a shock to me at all. It's exactly the type of gamble that Krahula would take. So I think that's all part of the plan for him. Tyler Dalton, hey, let's face it, he's been gambling all night, baby. He's going to roll him again here. Mellendorf, Jeff Gow has started to move up the field a little bit. Really good pit stop for Gow there. Gow and Mellendorf look to have only gone 2 tires. Everybody else behind him looks like they're on that 4-tire strategy.
Yeah, one thing with Gow is he was one of the guys that kind of got up there under pit strategy, under I believe it was the first or second caution when everybody kind of gambled. That got him up into the front of the field, or at least the front half of the field. And he's been the one guy out of everybody that's been able to stay up there consistently through the race here so far today. So it's really working out for Gow. And now the question is going to be, is how is this all going to work out for Tyler Dalton? Tyler has not had the best restarts here so far tonight. Will his luck change now that he's up front?
Will it? I don't know. We'll see. The lights are out on the pace car. Tyler Dalton going to get a chance to start this race from the point for the first time this evening. Let's see what kind of a restart he can throw down. Can he get the jump on the wily old veteran, James Krahula? We'll see. Have to find out here. Battle of Carolina and Texas, baby.
Well, we all know who would really win that battle, but, that's neither here or there. Of course, I've got to give a plug for Texas. That's just the way it is.
I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you.
No, you moved up to New York. You don't count anymore.
No, I absolutely count because my club membership has not changed. Texas all the way, baby.
Well, either way, clubs aside, Tyler Dalton's going to have that inside look here as we get ready to head into 3. We're just waiting for that Mustang pace car to pull off and get back to some green flag racing action here. The field started with 22 trucks. We're down, I believe, to about 17 trucks. I could be wrong on that one. Still running in this race. Mustang pace car is away, and Tyler Dalton. Tyler this time gets a great jump. He's got James Krahula on the outside of him, but really actually nobody on the outside of him. He got so great of a jump. He's going to be able to take the outside of into 1 and 2 here. James Kahula is going to have to fight off Brian Mellendorf. Brian Mellendorf slips off to the inside. James Kahula is going to be trying to carry that momentum on the outside at 1 and 2. You're looking at Jeff Gow back there trying to make his presence known. Jeff Gow is going to try to take an inside look at Mellendorf here as James Kahula takes a sole possession of second place through 3 and 4, but kind of catches up to the rear deck lid of Tyler Dalton. Dalton's going to get the greatest of corner entries there, and has allowed them to get up back onto that rear deck lid. But he pulls back away, going down the front straightaway. James Kahula is now going to have to fight off Mellendorf. Mellendorf trying to fight back onto the outside, going through 1 and 2, and that's going to be another momentum place. James Kahula gets a little bit loose underneath that Oreo machine of Mellendorf, and then you got Yazik back there now as well, trying to get around Kahula and get back into third position. Chuck?
Oh, he's got it. He's got it indeed. Look at Yazik go, man. He is really on it. He wants to get to Tyler Dalton, get back to the front of this field. Clean air is where the truck performs best. Yazik is digging right now in that Chevy Silverado. And looking at the rear bumper here of Mellendorf, he's got a chance here. Going to try and make a run at him down the straightaway. Here we go.
Yeah, Mellendorf is really going to have to here because he's got Yazik hot on his tail. But don't forget, we do got their side-by-side battle here. Jonathan Cadell and James Kahula. James Kahula doing his best to try to stay up there, but he is having a really tough time right now with Jonathan Cadell with that inside line going through 3 and 4. You see Yazik now back onto the rear deck lid of Mellendorf. Yazik, as you mentioned, is coming in a hurry. He knows that this race is already entering into the final third of this race, so time is winding down. These trucks are going around here with lap times about 33 and a half to 34 seconds, so 32 laps is going to click off before you know it.
Yeah, it's very easy to talk about now. These are the closing stages of this race. It's really time to put all those cards up on the table. Look what Mellendorf is doing to our leader. He's stalking him right now. Just up in front of Yazik here. Mellendorf is all over that deck of Tyler Dalton. And now Yazik looking to make a move here to the inside.
Yeah, Tyler Dalton did not get into 3 well just a moment ago, and going through 1 and 2, it looked like he was kind of getting a little loose there. I wonder if the pressure that Mellendorf is putting on him is starting to get to Tyler Dalton. Because he dives it into 3 and 4. You're going to burn up your tires in a hurry if you keep doing that, but he's doing what he has to right now to hold off the likes of Mellendorf. He cannot forget that Yazik is right behind. Yazik so far has pretty much dominated this race, but found himself back on track into that last pit cycle as Yazik is going to take an inside look at Mellendorf, and who's going to be able to get the better run off too. It looks like it's Mellendorf's going to be able to hold on to second position as Yazik actually drops back just a little bit off of him.
Yeah, Yazik he's doing some, he's panning for gold right now, as we like to say, all right? He's panning for a little bit of gold. Now he's going to try and mine a little bit here, heading down the stretch. Going to get to the inside quarter there of Mellendorf. Can he make it stick into the turn? Brakes deep. Still side by side. Dalton able to hang on in front. Ooh, he's going to get it. I think Yazik has got him here going into turn 3.
Just a moment ago, Norman Peltier, the third, running in 7th position, ended up slapping the turn 4 wall pretty hard. Ended up losing a couple spots because of that. That was on lap 70. So Norman having a little bit of trouble back there in the back half of the top 10. But of course, the big show still going on up front with Yazik still doing his best to hold off Mellendorf. And you got to figure the longer it takes Yazik to get around Mellendorf, the more that everything's going to even out, and the better chance that Tyler Dalton has of being able to retain the race lead. So Yazik's got to try to get around him. Oh, excuse me. I'm running on replay here. Fixing that. Mellendorf was able to get around Yazik. I'm talking about the other way around. Think about that the other way around. That'll help a little bit. So, okay, so Yazik, reorient myself. He is now back on the back bumper of your leader, Tyler Dalton. Tyler Dalton's going to have a whale of a time holding him off. We know that Yazik has had the fastest truck here tonight, and he's going to have to show it once again. This is not the first time he's had to take that lead. Looks like he's going to have to do it once again here with the likes of Tyler Dalton. Tyler in that black and red striped white machine with the Haviland sponsorship on the back end. He is just diving to the inside of 3 and 4. That's a very interesting line that he's running there through 3 and 4, and it's not the first time I've seen him do it there, Sean.
Yeah, here comes Yazik, though. He's looking to the inside. There we go. Yazik looking to make that move here, going into 1. Going to try and make it stick. This is exactly what he did to Mellendorf. He's going to work on it. He's working him over right now. Yazik trying to keep that spot. Going to try to take first. They're going to drag all the way down into 3.
And Tyler looked like he was trying to pinch him down there low as he could without losing the back end of his own truck. But you can only do that so much before things start to catch up with you. And I think Yazik is going to be able to take that position away. Indeed, he does clear Tyler Dalton. Tyler Dalton tries to slip in between him and Mellendorf. And Mellendorf actually had to lift just a little bit to keep out of the back end of Tyler Dalton. So Tyler, immediately goes from the frying pan right into the fire because he's got once again Mellendorf and now Cadell is caught up back up to the back end of that little pack right there. Tyler is going to have his hands full here.
Oh boy! And they're getting around the lap car right there. Mellendorf going to get the advantage on Dalton. Here comes Jonathan Cadell trying to take it away from Dalton.
Yeah, and Dalton got a little bit loose there when they were going 3 wide underneath that lap vehicle there. Ended up losing all of his momentum, and that allowed Jonathan Cadell to clear him too. So before too long, he's going to be back in the clutches of Jeff Gow. I really have to think that Tyler, he had a great restart. He was able to stay up front, but I think he might have burned up his equipment being able to try to stay up there and try to keep pace. We know Tyler has a fast truck, but I think the likes of Yazik, Mellendorf, and Cadell are probably going to have a fast truck for longer and being able to keep the tires underneath it.
Adam, mark this down right now. 23 laps to go for Brian Yazik. This thing stays green. Nobody's catching him. He's in command. He knows it. That's all he needs is a green flag. The only color he does not want to see before this race is over is yellow. He has no interest in that.
Yeah, but even if he does end up seeing a yellow, as long as he's not part of it, that's going to be he does have that in his favor as far as he hasn't had a single bad restart here tonight. So even then I don't think he'd be done for at all, but he is doing his best right now to run away from Mellendorf. I think right now the race is probably going to end up being for second place between Mellendorf and Cadell.
Well, let's look at some other battles then. How about Norman Pelletier right now being chased by Don Runkle Jr.? This is the second week in a row we've seen Don really, really have a good race. I'm not going to harp on it because, well, it didn't end up well last week. But Snoop Doggy Don here running in the top 10 again, sitting there in 8th, being chased by Paul Pepper. Pepper's been back there for a bunch of laps now, not able to pull it off. It's Norman Pelletier, the driver up in front of Don Runkle. That's the goal. That's the goal for Don, is to try and somehow get in front of him. But boy, they are still doing some really, really hard racing back there for position.
Yeah, Don Runkle's, of course, also, being in the top 10, but he's had to fight to stay there. And by fight, I mean fight his way around a few accidents, as he's had a pretty, I guess you should say, up close and personal look at a few of those accidents here for tonight.
Yeah.
So he's been able to escape danger, but that's one of those things that you can only do so many times. So Don Runkle definitely wants to make sure that nothing else happens in front of him here for the rest of the night. But now right now, once again, you're looking at there, Don Runkle. He's got Paul Pepper right behind him. Paul Pepper, he had a turn up in the front part of this field earlier on some pit strategy, but ended up falling back just a little bit. He's another one of those guys that really doesn't want to see any more trouble here for tonight. So with that, I think right now we got about 20 laps to go. We got 14 cars still remaining on the lead lap, Sean.
Yeah, and Runkle just let Paul Pepper get by, but now he's going to try and take him back on the attack here across the start-finish line down into turn 1. Runkle fight. Oh, he locks him up. Runkle had to get on the binders bad. He felt that car starting to slide up the track, and he makes contact.
Oh!
Pepper's around. Pepper is around. Ooh, and I'm afraid it might have been a little bit too much contact by the double lot.
Yeah, thankfully Paul Pepper was able to just kind of loop it around and not actually hit anything, so that's good on him, but unfortunately he did end up losing a few spots because of that, but I think that'll end up being a Don Runkle Jr. claimed caution there.
Yeah, pretty sure Don will fess up to that one. It certainly didn't mean it. Again, it was just really, really close. And you know, one thing we haven't seen this evening, and I'm so glad we haven't. That was not a netcode incident. That was just close racing. Don just give him a little bit of a touch there, and it was enough to send the truck around. But again, I don't think this is what Brian Yazik wanted to see. The yellow flag. I think he'd have been very, very happy with the green flag all the way to the finish, but he is going to get a chance to restart this race on point if he can get in and out of the pit clean here. And that's so very, very important. Hitting your box on time, right at the line, not too far, not too short. And
yeah,
we're going to get a chance here. They're all coming down.
And I think this is one of those times where we ran enough laps on that last stint there. I don't think we're going to see anybody do any kind of funny business and try any kind of crazy pit strategy. Now, that's not to say somebody won't, but I don't think we will, as I think all these guys are probably going to take four fresh good years and get back on their way. But Yazik, of course, it's never a sure thing that he's going to get off pit road in first, but he definitely has the advantage here with that up front pit box to be able to try to get away from it here. So we're going to wait to see who comes off pit road here first. Yazik is away. He's going to get through the cones first, and it looks like Mellendorf is going to be right behind him. That got real close back there with some 3-wide action trying to come off pit road. So with that, well, we got to talk about your Coastal Safety Auditor's lucky dog, and that is once again Rick Thompson. Rick, well, no, actually, I think, excuse me, I'm sorry, it might actually be... No, it will be Rick Thompson, excuse me. So Rick Thompson will end up being your Coastal Safety Auditor's lucky dog as Brutus the dog. I didn't realize they had iRacing shirts in Labrador Retriever size. So there's your Coastal Safety Auditor's lucky dog in that United States Air Force Thunderbirds pickup there. He's off the pace a little bit, but he's been able to, by a little bit of luck and a little bit of pit stops, been able to stay up there on that lead lap there after that big accident we had a little while ago on the front straightaway here. So with that, Yazik, see, should be at the front of this field. I think there's somebody up there that's just waiting for the wave around. That I believe that's Stephen Herring that's up there waiting on the wave around. So your front row, when we go back to green here, is going to be Yazik, Mellendorf, and then behind them are going to be Dalton and Gal. Gal, once again, is staying up there on pit stops and doing a great job of it too. Gal has definitely been no slouch here. Once the race has gotten going, he was able to get up there in the top half of the top 5. So we're looking at possibly some good action here.
Well, sir, I got to tell you, I am excited about the finish of this race we're getting ready to see here. This has been a little bit of a grind, but Yazik has put in the work. He was fast off the truck. I'll tell you, we were talking about Don Runkle earlier, and of course that last caution involved Don, but I'm thinking maybe I need to talk to him about maybe getting some GSRC branding on that truck, and we could start using him as the official camera truck of the series here, because he has certainly brought us some good views from the front seat of that truck this evening.
He has. You're looking there now, Stephen Herring getting that wave around. He is going to go back to the back end of the field. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's on the back end, but he'll go circle back around to the back end of the. Okay, so looks like my information was wrong there. That wasn't Stephen Herring going on the background. That was at Travis McQuestion. Yeah, it was Travis McQuestion. Okay, so Travis, who was 8 laps down, will still be 8 laps down, but he'll get to circle around there. He's trying to get one of his laps back. And that actually puts him on the same lap as John Wilco. So that was strategically important because, of course, that could be for a fight back there between 17th and 18th position, as now him and John Wilco are on the same lap. So that is now setting up the restart here amongst our leaders. You're looking at Yazik, once again, front row. Yazik been the king of restarts here for tonight as their Wickler wave between turns 3 and 4. Who is going to get the advantage here, though? Mustang pace car pulls off. They are going to go back to green as Yazik is on the pedal. Yazik doesn't get as good of a restart as what he had, but still pretty good. He's able to jump his way pretty clear of the field, and Mellendorf is going to have to fight back there. He's able to slide down in front of Tyler Dalton and take second position for himself. So now Yazik is going to be trying to keep everybody in his rear view mirror, and hopefully another caution doesn't come out for him. So Yazik, Mellendorf, Dalton. You're looking at Cadell back there. Cadell and then Gow. That's your top 5. And there is a caution. See 2 trucks up there against the wall.
Oh, yeah. And it looks like it was the 67 there. Making Brad Collins making contact. Oh, boy. Who was that he made contact with? I didn't
It was
quite
Jonathan
see.
Lawrence, I believe.
Yeah, Jonathan Lawrence, the 66. Yes, sir. Boy, how strange. The 67 and the 66.
Here's Paul Pepper diving to the inside. Makes it 3 wide going into 3. Oh, and Jonathan Lawrence just gets in a little too hot into 3 and gets into the back of Brad Collins. That's unfortunate.
Oh, let's see. We're going to take another look at it. We're going to try and get it on board actually with the 56, Norman Pelletier. Maybe something else actually caused this. We'll take a look here. Yeah, you're going to see Norm Pelletier to drop to the inside here real quickly. Coming up on the black truck right in front of him, that is the 66. Yeah. Wow. You're up to full speed practically there heading into the turn. Anything can happen. It did right there. That's a shame.
Well, of course, got to mention it. Well, having a sponsor helps. Coastal Safety Auditors, Lucky Dog, Brutus the dog. This time he's going to get to bark around Mark Nobert. He's 5 laps down. He'll be able to go 4 laps down and get another one of his laps back. That's been one thing about this race. There haven't been too many. There's been quite a few cautions, but there hasn't been many cautions with guys being able to get back on the lead laps with Lucky Dogs there. So for I believe the 2nd or 3rd time tonight, Mark Nobert getting your Lucky Dog and be able to regain one of the laps that he lost thanks to an early race accident. So, but cars are already, the trucks are already trying to line back up 2 by 2 here. We'll see if they get the lights go off on the pace car here this time by. We'll see if that ends up happening. But that does leave Yazik back in front of your field again. Mellendorf again in 2nd. So Yazik is just having to work his restart magic here tonight, Sean.
Yeah. And magic it's been for sure. One truck I want to keep an eye on here on this restart. This is going to be a mad dash. We're gonna restart this race with 10 laps to go because the lights are off. I think they're off now. Okay. Oh, they're still on. So we're gonna get one more. Oh, the wave around. I forgot about the wave around. That adds another lap to it. So we still got the yellow. Keep an eye on Jonathan Cadell. They're in a number 11, starting in 4th up on the outside. Cadell showing some speed. I like his chances. I don't know. We'll see if he can make a mad dash. Don't forget about James Corolla either, Adam.
Yeah, James has shown a little bit of speed at times here for tonight. So, really, if heaven forbid, if Yazik ends up having a rough restart or something like that here, this really could be anybody in probably the top 6 race here. Don't forget Jeff Gow has shown a little bit of speed, and his best speed has been when he's been kind of running single file or by himself, and he's been able to hold his own up there. So probably the top 6, anybody in the top 6 can come away with this thing if something were to happen. Magic has a certain way of running out eventually, but Yazik really hasn't shown any of that here tonight.
Nope, he hasn't. I still like his chances to win this thing, but it's definitely going to be a little bit more complicated here. This restart has got to be perfect. Perfect, and you know what? He's got to get the rest of these guys to do what they've done on these last restarts and maybe not be as sharp.
Well, one thing that we were talking about earlier on was Jonathan Lawrence and his march back through the field, and he was able to work his way back into the top 10 before that last accident. But because of league rules, and they have a certain thing called claim points, it kind of works against you, and Jonathan Lawrence has been disqualified for the remainder of the event, so he'll fall down into the finishing order, unfortunately. So his night is done after that last accident, and but that does bring us to another restart here. We're going to be restarting once we hit the line. It'll be 9 laps to go for Yazik, Mellendorf, Dalton, Cadell, Krahula, and Gao. Those are going to be your front 3 rows once we get the green flag here. We are just waiting for that Mustang pace car to pull off, waiting for them to hammer down on that loud pedal and be able to get away. And there goes that Mustang pace car on that little concrete strip. He's on pit road, and Yazik doesn't want to see pit road for the rest of the night. He is away again. And once again, not the best restart out of him, but good enough to be able to slide out there and be by himself when he goes into 1. Now, Mellendorf does get a good run there.
Oh, in fact, he's around contact.
Somebody sliding. He's halfway through. He's able to save it. Yellow flag comes out because he was sitting halfway across the track, but he was able to save that truck and nobody hit him. Great driving by Jeff Gao.
Rick Thompson almost collects him. I mean, Rick Thompson did a great job of getting on the binders, almost slides right into him. But Norman Pelletier just getting into the turn really, really hot. And you're going to see the contact. Jeff doing a great job of controlling that truck, and watch the 76 get by.
I saw some sparks. I do think there was a little bit of contact there.
It was slight because Rick's got damage on the hood of that truck. It's already been there. We're going to watch the replay. I think the sparks might have just been from the track, but oh boy.
Yeah, either way, I don't think it hurt the truck any worse than it was already hurt. So that goes. But, the one thing that I found really interesting about that restart there and that little bit that we got to see of it is, Yazik was able to get away, and he was able to get into 1 and 2 by himself. But Mellendorf probably got the best restart that I've seen anybody on that outside line, and he almost had his left front fender near Yazik's right rear quarter panel. So it could get interesting here. I'm not going to say more than that. It could get interesting when we go back. Now, once again, another quick yellow. There is a lucky dog here, and that is, once again, Mark Nobert, able to get the Coastal Safety Auditor's lucky dog. Brutus been a little bit busy. I almost can see Brutus back there kind of chasing that truck a little bit, trying to get him around the track a little faster. Maybe we get this thing going back green here faster.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, got a big stake waiting for Brutus tonight. He's worked hard. We appreciate his services this evening here on the broadcast.
That's right. So Mark Novert, once again, your Coastal Safety Auditor's Lucky Dog Award winner. So that puts, I believe that'll put him 3 laps down to the field. So with, I do not believe that we'll have enough time for him to be able to get up to back up to the lead lap. But that does put him on a lap by himself now. Granted, of course, Jonathan Lawrence falling out with the disqualification just a little while ago. So your front runners here, when we come back to green in just a minute, it's going to be Yazik and Mellendorf on the front row, Dalton and Cadell behind him, and then Krahula and Pepper. How about Paul Pepper? I mean, he hasn't had a quiet race by any means, but he has solidly locked himself into the top 10 here for tonight, and that there's got to be a story behind Spacek on that truck, you think?
Yeah, there is. And you know what? That story was told to me, and I just don't remember it right now. It's a friend of the driver, I believe, and I'll find out. I'll get back to everyone on that next week. Let me explain the penalty, though, to Jonathan Lawrence, because we've probably got viewers here watching for the first time. Not everybody is a return visitor every week, and so you're allowed 4 incident points per race before you DQ. Now, he went over the 4 claim points in a single race, okay? He got 2 for early self-spin in the first half, and 2 for the restart wreck. and unfortunately, because of that, he did DQ from the event. So race control always on point, taking control of that, and always sure to get us the information when we need it. But wanted to give everybody a little background on why he was disqualified from the event there, Adam.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that you find pretty common at Saturday night racing short track events. You know, you cause your first caution, you're going back to the end of the field. You know, you cause your second caution, we're going to ask you to park for the night. Obviously, you know, you could be a great driver and everything else, but, you know, not everybody is great every single day. So that kind of goes back to an old short track style rule that served many short tracks across the country before.
This is it, Adam. This is going to be our point of no return. Once we get started, that's going to be it, buddy. I don't think they'll have a chance to get a green flag back in if we get another caution.
No, so it's pretty much next flag is going to end this race. We come back to green here. It's going to be 4 laps to go. We get once again Yazik, Mellendorf, then Dalton, Cadell, then Hula and Pepper, and once again anybody in that top 6 can pretty much come away with that one. I think Joe Peak's trying to throw me for a loop here, asking me what if the next flag is the white flag. Good job, Joe. Good job, Joe. You threw me for a loop there. So here we go. Yazik is on the loud pedal again. Once again, he gets a great restart. He's going to be able to single-handedly not have anybody alongside of him going into one. This time, though, Mellendorf is going to have to fight off Dalton on the inside, but even he's able to use that momentum. He's able to carry it around. And now the question is who's going to have the better truck in the short run to the end. Those guys are fanning out a little bit behind him, jockeying from whatever position they can get. Yazik up front right now. Mellendorf right behind. Oh,
Dalton spinning.
Dalton spin around. Dalton's completely around. Big wreck in the middle of the field. No, not a big wreck. Most of the guys are able to avoid him.
Yeah. Dalton getting a power shot there to the bumper from Paul Pepper. Pepper already claiming it. You'll see it here on the replay. Yeah, he hits him pretty good, and it's tough for Dalton to recover from that.
That's 2 guys right there that had really good runs going for them, and both those runs are going to pretty much come back to the end. They'll finish in the back part of this field, so very unfortunate for both of them. Of course, as you mentioned, that Paul Pepper did admit to the mistake. So those guys will finish, I believe Dalton will finish 13th, and Pepper will end up finishing 14th in this race. But that means that only thing that's left to do is right along here with Norman Peltier. He gets just a face full of smoke there, and you see some action going on there on the inside. Who's that in that black and red truck down there that kind of had to save it a little bit in the grass?
I think that was Travis McQuistion, actually. Yeah.
So great job hanging on to it, trying to get away from that accident there. See Brick Thompson, that's the truck in front of him. You see the smoke, you see everybody drifting up, and he has to dive. No, that's somebody way up there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got off that and I missed it. I know the 67 was Brad Collins, the truck getting turned around there.
I want to say it might have been Don Ruckel Jr. again. Hold on. No, it wasn't. It was Jeff Gow. Jeff Gow was the truck that ended up having to dive to the inside there. Don Ruckel came down trying to avoid the accident, and Jeff Gow take evasive action going into the grass, and he's going to be able to save it here. Now, saving a sideways truck when you got 2 wheels in the grass is no small feat, so good job hanging on to that there, Mr. Gow. So, now the... I believe it was a question in a race that we had a few weeks ago, whether or not the driver was going to be able to make it around under yellow with gas, even right at the end of the race. I want to say it was an L79 race we did a few nights ago. That isn't going to be the case this time around.
No.
As Brian Yazik, as long as something crazy doesn't happen with his internet connection or something like that, Yazik's going to be able to come away with the win here tonight.
Yeah, unless he does like a massive fuel dump in the turn right now and just drains it. I think he's gonna get this. But man, what a race this evening on a very, very challenging track here at Gateway Motorsports Park. It's been a good one, but let's face it, Brian Yazek, I think, was really the man to beat tonight.
He really was. And you know, we've got to do it. Coastal Safety Auditor's lucky dog tonight, once again. I think for maybe the fourth time, Mark Noberg ended up coming away with the Coastal Safety Auditor's lucky dog for the last time this race. So he's going to be able to recover, to only be 2 laps down on the finish here. But we are now on the last lap, so we'll follow along with Brian Yazek as he's going to cruise to the finish line here. Here he comes, rounding turn 4. Brian is going to win the St. Louis 125 at Gateway Motorsports Park as part of the American Pool Supply Premier Racing League Series. So congratulations, Mr. Yazek. Mellendorf is going to come home in second. James Krahula coming home in third. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back with your finishing order in just a moment as everybody gets to enjoy the fireworks. Well, it wasn't easy, but he tried to make it look like it was. Brian Yazik, your champion tonight of the St. Louis 125 at Gateway Motorsports Park. Brought to you by the American Pool Supplies Truck Series put on by the Premier Racing League. Of course, once again, Brian Yazik first place. Second place, Brian Mellendorf ended up, never mind those intervals when finishing under yellow, but Mellendorf came pretty close there a couple of times in those last 2 restarts there to being able to do something right before the yellows came out. Fortunately, it wasn't to be. James Kahula is going to come home in 3rd. Jake Wright comes home in 4th, and Don Runkle Jr. in 5th. The story there is that during that last yellow, Jonathan Cadell's connection, something happened to it, and he ended up falling way back in the field. So everybody kind of jumped up a spot from what you might have seen. 6th place is Jeff Gow, able to recover from a little bit of action there toward the tail end of the race. Brad Collins in 7th, Fred Thompson in 8th, and 9th, Norman Peltier, and then Stephen Herring in 10th. Sean?
All right, then we'll go to the rest of the field here. It's going to be 11th place for Rick Thompson, 12th place for Tyler Dalton. That's where he's going to wind up after that last incident. Paul Pepper, 13th. Jonathan Cadell. That's how it's all going to finish for him after a great run tonight. 14th. Mark Nobert going to finish 15th, couple laps down. Travis McQuistion, 16th. 17th, John Wilco. Jonathan Lawrence, 18th this evening as a result of a DQ. Devin Cannon going to finish 19th. 20th going to go to Paul Nicholas Cooper. Unfortunate for him that he got caught up in one. Certainly wasn't his fault. Then we go back to 21st. It's going to be Josh Karupa. Tough night for a man trying to get 4 in a row. Didn't work out. And then 22nd going to be Tim Johnston this evening, and he'll finish 76 laps down in this event. But Adam, what a great race, and I think you have caught up, well, I'm sure, with a pretty excited Brian Yazik.
Yeah, of course, fantastic run by Brian Yazik tonight. We've caught up with him here in Victory Lane. Brian, there were times where you really had to fight for it tonight, and but there were times also where you were just trying to keep everybody out behind you. So what ended up being the key to your win here tonight?
Really what it boiled down to was, this is going to sound funny, but last year in another league we ran a truck race here, and I found something way back then about how to get around this joint. And for some reason, no matter what I'm in, it always seems to work. So it was just kind of a matter of finding that groove and finding that rhythm, and really being able to stretch out this HPP simulation, Loud Pedal Motorsports Chevy Silverado.
Yeah, do you care to share what that something is? I mean, I hear Sean Ambrose is a little slow here. He needs some tips.
Why would I tell all of my secrets here? Now, come on, I'm not that bad.
Well, there is one thing I'd like you to explain, though, is that you certainly were the king of restarts here for tonight. I mean, every time you were up front, you were able to just get away completely clean. How challenging were those restarts for you, and is there a key there maybe that you're not going to tell us about?
No, the key on the restart is just to mash that gas pedal down to the floor and get up through the gears, and that's the way to do that. But no, it's all just a rhythm and a flow to get around and get everything done, get the feel the right way. Because if you can pull away on the restart, they get side by side back there. I mean, like we saw it at the end, everybody got stacked up in turn 3, and because we're able to restart and get half a tenth or half a second lead, we were under no threat whatsoever. So we're not even working up a sweat in here yet, and I'm a pretty hefty guy, so that must have been fun to watch. But it's always cool to complete the Grand Slam. That's what I call it, the Grand Slam. You go fastest in practice, win the pole, fastest lap of the race, and then you win the race. That's the Grand Slam, and we did it, and I'm pretty cool about that. I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, you brought up mashing the gas there on restart. So what you're telling me is that the secret is that you filed away about ½ inch out of that firewall and be able to get that gas pedal down a little bit further, right?
You know what? These Loud Pedal Motorsports engineers, they're always up to something, and I just say, you know what? Just don't tell me. We'll go from there.
I think Sean wants to cut in here real quick. Go ahead, Sean.
Brian, notice your nickname, the Beard, on the truck there. One question for you.
Yeah.
What was the last thing you found in your beard?
Oh, God.
It was the last thing I found. It was probably some ice cream last night.
Okay. All right, that's
the
all
gray
I got.
hairs the gray hairs have been there already. My beard has a salt and pepper distinguished sort of look to it, and I'm pretty cool with that too. So no, we're it's hanging in there. The beard, I don't even remember where that came from. Something PRL last year, and everybody runs door signatures and has their cool things up on the door. And I talked to my buddy Nick Cohen, and I said, come up with something like that for me. And we came up with the beard, and that's been above the doors. It's above the door on everything we drive. So we got to have fun with it. I've got no hair to celebrate with, but I got a pretty cool beard. So we'll take that.
Well, once again, Brian, hey, congratulations on the win here tonight, and fantastic drive, fantastic job on those restarts. That really, for me, was the key for you here tonight, at least watching it, especially in some of those short runs. So, great job, and I do believe Sean's going to grab our second place runner here, Brian Meldorf.
Yes, I've caught up with Brian Meldorf. He stands second spot on the podium tonight here at Gateway. Brian, that was some kind of run. Did you have anything for Brian Yazik on the restart, that last restart?
No, not for the last one. All those restarts at the end, I just kept on putting a bunch of rear brake into it, and I went way too far on the last restart. The one before, though, I thought I was going to try something if we got off a 2, but the yellow came out too quick.
Well, sir, not a bad evening for you. This is another good shot in the arm and the points. I think you moved up one spot overall, actually. Find yourself now fourth in the points. Consistency this season, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, I can do that pretty easily. The consistency part, just these bonus points halfway are just hurting me so much. I'm not always around at the middle of the race, but I'm there at the end, and Yazik and a couple other guys have just been eating me up that way, but hanging in there, long season, got till November, so.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You brought it up. Let me ask you a question about the bonus points. What do you have to do to get better at scoring more bonus points?
If I knew that answer, I'd be doing it already.
I threw you a trick question. I'm sorry.
Just not a lot of short run speed, and I got to work on the qualifying. Luckily tonight, qualified up front, stayed up front, and didn't have to pass a lot of people. So that always helps.
Well, sir, thanks for bringing us another great show on a Sunday night. Congratulations again to you. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, and that was Brian Meldorf, driver of the Oreo cookie machine, the one that makes us hungry every week, that number 41. And I think we've got someone else who had a pretty decent run tonight, finds himself on the podium, the man from Texas, our old friend James Gruel. Adam?
Yeah, I wonder if we can just kick Joe out and just have a Texas-only booth right now. I mean, would you be game for that? I don't think so. So, hey, James, great run tonight. I think you found yourself just about everywhere inside the top 10 here tonight. So definitely had to fight at times. What was the story of your race? Tell us a little bit about it.
It was very uneventful. We didn't feel that competitive tonight, and somehow we came away with a podium. So I'll take that.
Well, and sometimes those are the nights that get you somewhere, because you were able to, pretty much, I think almost all the accidents for the most part happened behind you. I didn't see any that really happened in front of you, so I'm sure that helped you out a little bit there. But I think you're a little bit more competitive than what you might think. You were able to stay up there once you got up there. Now, did you have any inkling of maybe trying some pit strategy there in the last half of the race and get you a few more positions?
Yeah, we tried that early in the race, and it didn't work out well for us. It kind of screwed us up on that long run, and that kind of set us up in a bad spot for the end of the race. So tires were, man, it was like a bunch of drop off like really early, and then it kind of evened out. But yeah, it was I don't know, it was very interesting as far as the tires and everything go, but I didn't feel like there's too much strategy to be had out there in the race tonight.
Well, with that, the American Pool Supply Series Truck Series heads to Kentucky here next week. What are you looking forward to the most about Kentucky?
I really like Kentucky. It's been a pretty good track for us all around, and in a bunch of series. Won an ASRS race there, won a Lionheart race there, so we'll be good. And then really looking forward to Mid Ohio to get done with this first spring segment. And then we have a lot of dirt. We got a week of testing. Then we have the prelude to the Derby. Then we're going there for the Speed Mafia Dirt Derby. Gonna run some Eldora, and then we have some Volusia coming up there a couple weeks after that. So the trucks handle like crap in the dirt, and I can't wait to get on it.
Sometimes it's those ones that handle the worst that end up being the most fun. So I hear you there. Well, hey, good luck, and hopefully we'll see you on the podium again here next week.
Thanks, guys.
All right. So, hey, Sean, before we close out the show, any final thoughts?
You know what? The guy I thought was going to win this race won the race this evening, and he was fast in practice. He was fast in qualifying. I said it earlier. They were fast off the truck. And Brian Yazik and his Chevy Silverado tonight were the real winners. Boy, it's going to be hard to knock him off the top of the points right now if he just goes out every week and keeps getting top 5 finishes and wins and bonus points. Yazik on quite a run. That was his goal this season, and so far, things working out for the man.
Well, it definitely seems like it, and of course now he'll have some momentum going into Kentucky. Not that he didn't have any momentum to begin with. So with that, we'd like to say a special thanks to the Premier Racing League for putting on the American Pool Supply Truck Series. Also thanks to the software and hardware that we use for our broadcast that you can see listed on your screen.
And we also want to thank our musical contributors, Eric Eckholm and Casey Lalonde, whose music you can find at the websites listed. For more information about future races, you can see the list on the screen, or you can go to globalsimracingchannel.com, where you can check out our past broadcasts as well as check out what's on our schedule coming up.
Yeah, don't forget we're also on Twitter and also on Facebook. So with that, the next time that we'll be on the air for the Premier Racing League American Pool Supply Truck Series is going to be next Sunday. This is going to be round 9 at another fast 1.5 mile track. Of course, we were one at just a couple weeks ago there at Texas. Now we're going on to Kentucky, and we'll hope to see you there at 9 p.m. Eastern once again next Sunday. And congrats again to our winner, Brian Yazik, for Dougie Beard and Joe Peak, and also for Sean Ambrose. I'm Adam Young. Race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.